We're live. Sweet. All right. Invite the... We're trying something new here. A live interview for the next...
Okay, I'm here. Oh my god, okay. Hello, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh my god, I'm doing great. I've just been so nervous all day, and the nerves are kicking in. Oh god, I don't even know why I am so nervous, but yeah, it happens. So thank you for being here. Thank you for, doing this interview.
Of course.
Like, this is a very surreal moment for me because I was about 14. And I was watching your videos on YouTube, and then I got to be in the Perspectopia team, and then I'm interviewing you. So this is like a big manifestation moment for me. Generally, dreams do come true. So guys, please always remember that because things do happen. So I'm so excited to start this, get this going, and just have a normal chill conversation and an interview along with it. So thank you for being here again.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me on. It's a nice full circle moment.
Yes, very full circle moment. If I could just stop shaking. Okay, but let's start. So this is just how I am. I'm sorry. But yeah, this interview, as I said, was something I was really looking forward to because I'm very comfortable saying this because, you have been a very big inspiration in terms of, the Untitled magazine as well because, I created it after, I was just slacking around, doing nothing with my life, and then you were always an inspiration, and that, always got me to wondering. Obviously, there were other factors involved, personally, but your videos, always were like a pushing point to that climax, of starting something that I was passionate about and that I wanted to do. And then seeing how many people you impacted, it sort of did become a very big inspiration as, how can I do the same, but, just mark my place on the world or in the world for that matter. So I want to take this interview a long back, maybe when you decided that you wanted to do something like this, what was your moment when you went okay, I'm going to do something and I'm going to just make this happen, because this is always so hard, taking from personal experience, as in, there's always doubt. There's always so many million questions going on in your mind. And how did it click for you?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm just so happy to hear that I could serve as inspiration, and I think the Wi-Fi's cutting out. Let me know if... Oops, maybe we lost her. Can you guys still hear me? I'm not sure if it's me cutting out or... Uh-oh. Internet. Can you guys still hear me? Is it me who's cutting out, or...
Oh, I'm on again.
All right.
I think your internet, yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, perfectly.
All right.
So, as we were saying, I don't know where I cut off for you, but I know where you cut off for me. But my question was, how did it basically click for you? What was your point in your life where you were I'm just going to do something, and we don't know if this goes downhill or uphill, but we're just going to try and hope that this becomes something.
Yeah, great question. I think I can pinpoint it all the way back to I think it would be when I decided to film my first day of French public school. I think starting my YouTube channel is the first leap. But I think is if you can see like in the first couple videos, I was still shy and afraid to film in public, and I was really easing into it. But the first day of school was just like completely in the water, you know? Like it's my first day of school. I'm going to be around these kids for the next couple of months. I'm going to be around these teachers the next couple of months, and I have no idea what to expect, you know? And I think it was really daunting and kind of frightening thing to put myself out there, bring a big camera and film. And yeah, I just really remember that 10-minute walk to school where I have my camera. I'm like, I'm really doing this. There's no going back from here. And yeah, just walking into the school, filming, and I didn't film a ton of myself, vlogging around the hallways, but it's just really putting myself in that situation where I'm doing this. There's no going back from here. And yeah, I think it just started to click throughout the day when it became fun. And I think when you do go out of your comfort zone into something new, you sort of realize like, oh wait, this isn't so bad. Oh wait, this is kind of fun. Oh wait, let me start doing this even more. And I think through that experience, I realized, how rewarding it can be to just go out there and do something like that. And I think even afterwards, I think it really solidified the experience to get all these nice comments like, your first day of school filming, that inspired me to do this, and just to see, the full circle effect of it all. But I'd say I'd really trace it back to that first day of French public school, deciding to film and really just going out there and creating my new identity.
Like most of the people on your channel, I think I was for me, that was the first video that I ever watched on your channel as well. So yeah, so that is like where it obviously took off for you. And were you always a shy kid? Were you always kind of, I don't know what you consider yourself as an introvert or an extrovert, but was that something, obviously it was stepping out of your comfort zone, but there's always something that sometimes makes us want to do, things, even the small act of getting out of your comfort zone and taking the big camera to school, it does become so daunting. So was there anything that, was going on in your mind when, you were like taking the first step to doing it, doubts and your whole experience before anything, essentially started?
I think going back to your earlier question, I was definitely a shy, introverted kid. And I think especially like through high school, I was starting to warm up. In sophomore year when I left, I think growing more into myself, but I think throughout my life I've been more shy and reserved. And I don't think, looking back, I wouldn't think of myself as a YouTuber. And I think going way back, I'd always wanted to start a channel, but I viewed myself as an introvert. And I was like, well, introverts don't film themselves. And I think that day in particular where I think at least, in my life before even moving to France, I wasn't quite satisfied with the identity that I had for myself. And I really viewed moving there as a new opportunity to recreate myself. Yeah, I'm on a call. Sorry. I think the first day of school gave me the opportunity to really start recreating my. I think we lost you again. Oh. 1 second. Little technical difficulties here. All right, she's gone. Uh-oh. But yeah. All right, you're back. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep, perfect right now.
All right.
Okay, so wasn't able to hear like all of the whole answer, but
yeah, we can go again if you want.
Yeah, please.
I think I was just saying that, moving to France felt like this new opportunity for me to recreate myself and to find a new identity. And I think that first day of school is really, this is the new identity that I want to have for myself. And I'm going to be around my new peers, and they don't know who I am. They don't know who I was, and I can be a new version of myself. And I think just having that thought in the back of my mind that this could be the new me, And I think that really pushed me forward, and yeah, I think that's what carried me through the day and kind of gave me that sense of like bravery. I don't know if it was brave, but I was just a bit optimistic that like this could be my new self, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. First days of school were always like very stressful for me, personally speaking, because I don't want to say that I was an introvert, but I think I became one. I was quite of an extrovert, always wanted to make friends, always, was out there and everything. And it just kind of, after a few years, 6th, 7th grade, it just got not boring, but, I always felt like I was trying too hard. And then I stopped trying, and then I kind of like reserved into myself more. And I think we do go through that phase wherein we try to, I think there's always like 3 phases in teenage years, is where you are, first of all, confused, and you don't know what's going on around you at all. Then the phase comes wherein, you want to change. You want to really understand yourself, know yourself better. And then the stage wherein, you take that big leap and you put your first step into becoming the person that you want to be. And I agree with you when you said that, first day of school for you felt like you were in a new city or a country even, and you just had the opportunity to step into a new Max and, build yourself from there. And I think that's really great. And I think even for normal people, or people who aren't going to France for a couple of months, I think if maybe 1 year you try and, step into, or you try and get into the mindset of maybe trying to figure yourself out, or maybe trying to work towards being who you really want to be. And I think that's really helpful for everybody in terms of, everything in general, and creating a life for yourself. So that's really cool. That is really cool. So coming back to the video timeline. So started off in France, and then you were making videos for your whole time there. You came back to America, started.
Uh-oh. Wi-Fi's cutting out again. We're gonna lose it? Okay. I think you cut out. You cut out for a couple of seconds. So coming back to the United States, that's where you were.
Yeah, so coming back to the United States, you're in a new country now. Obviously, you're in your homeland, but it might, sound somehow alien because you were out there for such a long time. So was there, a part of you that, wasn't wanting to leave France because maybe, or did you kind of figure yourself out, or figure the whole YouTube thing if you wanted to pursue it? And, what was your mindset coming back to America and, keeping this ongoing for after that as well?
Yeah. I think my mindset, I remember like writing this in my journal, I was kind of mixed. Like, I had mixed feelings. I was excited to go back and see my friends, and I feel like by the end I created a new identity for myself, and I was proud of what I was doing. But at the same time, I really enjoyed the way of life in France, the more relaxed, and just like the culture in general. I liked it a lot more, and I was obviously going into my junior year of high school, which is kind of renowned to be difficult, kind of stressful in America. So I think I was excited to come back, because I feel like I completed.
Hey, you're loading for me.
Oh. Wi-Fi. All right, we'll just give it a moment. So you guys can still hear me. Thank you for being here and listening. This will probably go on for the next 30 plus minutes. So should be a good conversation if the Wi-Fi works. All right, you're back.
Okay, I got you back. Oh my God, yes. Can you hear me again?
Yeah, we're back.
Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Perfect. Oh, internet. So, can you please summarize your answer again, because I kind of cut off.
Okay. Yeah. I think basically the gist of, oh, we lost you again. Oh, geez. I can't tell if it's my Wi-Fi or maybe it's yours. Is it me cutting out, or is it? Yeah. All right, we're back. Yeah. I think we're back.
Okay. Yep, we're back. Okay, so okay, where were we? So your answer. Let's come back to that. Can you just say it again because I couldn't hear it?
Yeah, basically the gist was that I felt like I created a new identity that I was proud of in France, and I was excited to be, making these YouTube videos. So I was excited to go back home and to see all my friends.
Yeah, that is really like nice to hear because there's something about home that's never obviously going to change. You're always going to love someplace new because it's new to you in general, but there's always going to be something about homeland that is always going to be so pure and so just homey in every sense of the way. So now you're in junior year in America, in a completely different environment, and I understand junior year is hard. I'm a sophomore if you consider it in American terms, but I'm in 10th grade, and in India, 10th grade is like a year where people or students don't think about themselves. They don't do anything. They just study, and they study, and they study, and then they have this exam at the end of the year, which is so important, and it's going to like make or break their whole career. And did you like, yeah, very different. So, yeah. But, coming back to America, obviously you were excited. You were excited to start this whole new journey, and because obviously now coming back to America is going to be different, because obviously you've left the culture in France and you're here in your homeland. Was it somehow hard for you to explain yourself, or because you did quite evolve during your time in France? So was it sort of daunting to come back to America and you are this new person and, explaining yourself or being with family and being with friends? Was there ever a point when you were like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to present this new me to all the people that I love and care about?
Yeah, I think I was actually excited to present the new me, but I think I learned over time that I almost found it hard to relate to my friends in the same way that I did before I left, because it was just really hard to explain everything that happened to me. I just felt like I had this whole bump of maturity. I got to see a completely different world, and I think it was just hard for me to relate and like understand and be able to talk about these experiences that I had. But I was generally excited to come back and just to see everyone. But just over time, it just felt like a little disconnected. I don't know how to explain it, but I think when you have a really transformational experience, things are just a little bit different afterwards. But it's not necessarily bad.
Yeah, I understand that because I sort of like went through that myself, because I was this outgoing person when I was a child, and then
1 second.
Suddenly, yeah, waiting.
My mom's coming.
Sorry. Hi. She just needs to get some stuff out here.
Okay.
Come on. You know what?
Sorry, my grandma's here.
Hi.
Please. Relax.
What? Do you want me to help you move that
Intermission.
into Lena's room? Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
All right.
Okay. We're back. That was real cute. But yes, okay, coming back to my question. You obviously, like, not to the question, but to what I was saying, but it was really hard for me as well when you were, trying to grow, and there's these people that you care about, that you love, and somehow it's obviously hard for you to explain yourself or understand them. And I get when you say that, you couldn't relate to them in the way that you were doing before. And I think that's a real human problem, is when you feel like you're taking 4 steps ahead in your life, and when you meet people that are sort of not on that journey yet, it kind of like, neither do I know how to explain that. It's just a weird feeling overall. And did that feeling kind of hold you back in terms of, did that inspire you to make new friends, find a new friend, not obviously leave your friends because obviously you love them and care about them, but, just find a new, different community or a group of friends that somehow, knew what you were going through and were going through with you at the same time.
Yeah. That's a great question. I think, everyone has their own path in terms of maturity and life experience. I think we're all, especially in high school, everyone's changing in different times. And, I think, at that time I just didn't, I think to answer your question, I think I was able to find an outlet through YouTube. I think when I came home, I felt like that's where I could really share how I was feeling with the world and where people would understand me and relate to that. And I think also a couple months later when I started the 𝗝𝗡𝗡𝗧𝗬𝗓 Discord server, I felt like I was also able to, meet international friends and create a community of people who I felt like I could, relate to more. And I think just through the internet and having just like an audience online, I was able to meet so many more people who I probably wouldn't have had access to otherwise. I think I still stayed good friends with my friends, but I was able to expand my network and reach new people that I wouldn't have been able to otherwise, which I think was really rewarding, and it allowed me to feel like I could relate to other people, which was special.
That is nice. Now, coming back, you mentioned the Discord server. So what was the mindset behind that? What were you thinking when you first started it? Because yes, building a community is kind of, I don't want to say daunting and everything, but it is kind of like, I cannot find another word, but yes, it is kind of weird and it's new, obviously, so it's new. So how was your, what was your idea behind it? What did you want it to, what was it that you envisioned for the community in the next couple of months and years coming back? And were you always, was it always, were you always looking at the bigger picture? Or was it always, like, I'm going to live in the moment, I'm going to start this thing, I don't know where it's going to go north, south, wherever it wants to, but I'm just going to do it? And was it, were you thinking of the future? Because now we have the 𝗝𝗡𝗡𝗧𝗬𝗓 YouTube channel with the YouTube team, and that is expandation on a very different level. So how was your mindset, going into that?
I think in the beginning, I guess going all the way back, I'd always wanted to create a community, and especially, coming back from France, I wanted to create a community of optimistic people who kind of shared my mindset that I didn't feel like I always had in my own personal life. And I think, especially like when you have your own YouTube channel and you see people in the comment sections, it's like cool, but it doesn't feel like your audience knows each other. They're just leaving comments, and it's a very like one-on-one relationship. And I think something about that left me just wanting something more. I felt like we have all these really cool people here commenting on my videos, but they don't know each other. I felt like it was very two-dimensional. Yeah. If we could find a way to bring everyone together, it could be three-dimensional. We could all get to know each other and really create something special. And that's also something I took away from my experience in France, is that communities is really what life is about. And I think when I first started the 𝗝𝗡𝗡𝗧𝗬𝗓 server, I had no idea that we'd be end up like creating a government, having like a 30-page document for all of our rules, and having all these incredible, talented people work for us, and even the YouTube team. I never could have imagined that. All I really was thinking about in the beginning was, how do I bring people together? And I think from then on, once I realized that, like, oh my gosh, we can do something special here, I think I started to have more of a vision for the future, but I could have never imagined, everything being where it is at today.
I love community as well, because, I've never, I lived in different countries growing up, and it really showed me a different side of people. I lived in somewhat of a dangerous country where people might, suspect it to be. I was living in Saudi Arabia for like, 7 years. And that, there was a part of, there's always a threat, there's always fear when you speak of the Gulf or when you speak of the Middle East. There's always fear, there's always confusion in people's minds, what to think, what not to think. And that really got I never knew that when I was there, right? Because I was little. All I knew was that these people are amazing. These people will help you when you need them. These people will be there for you. They will share their food with you. They'll share their drinks with you. If you get stuck in sand, they'll, pull you out. And these are like the things that are so beautiful. And then as I got older and then I looked at the world and saw that, this area of the world is so underrated. Like there's so many things that are wrong about it. And yes, it is conservative. It is very difficult to live because you don't have that sense of freedom that you would have in your own country. But there's also something so beautiful about the people there that I think the world sometimes forgets. And at the end of the day, we're all human. And if we cannot understand each other, then, what's the point of everything? There's no point of it all, going to think of it. So, yes, I really, love community in that sense, as in it's not just about getting to meet the people, it's about changing your perspective about the world and about how you look at countries, how you look at people, what are your perceptions of them, and how to prove yourself wrong. So, when you sort of, got the chance to create this community, create this group of people where everybody was so diverse, was there like a part of you that, kind of, just a part of you wherein you felt like, oh my God, I had all these perceptions about these places, and I just cannot imagine that these people are so beautiful because, when you look at them in a community, it's not their country that you look at. It's not where they come from. It's about who they are as a person. And how was that experience for you going into Perspectopia?
Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah, I think Perspectopia has opened me up to the community is so diverse. Like, there's people from every single country. And, before this, I'd only met a couple people from international countries, but now, like, on a daily basis, like, oh, someone from Russia, someone from the Philippines, someone from China, someone from Australia, someone from Canada. It's just like, oh my gosh. And yeah, I think over time, you're just meeting so many people from different countries, and you kind of forget, you're like, these are all just people, and we're all just in Perspectopia together. And I think, yeah, it's really taught me that I guess we're all really similar at the end of the day. I think that's a beautiful thing with the Perspectopia servers, that we can come together from so many different areas, but all relate on certain levels and have conversations, enjoy games together, watch movies together. And I think, yeah, it's really given me an awesome perspective on just the world as a whole that I don't think I would have had otherwise if I just lived within America and didn't have access to the internet.
Yeah, I think that's really, what it all boils down to. It's just humanity. And, even with the Encore magazine, it was always about getting those radical ideas everywhere and just putting them into a place where people could read them and understand that, their perception might be wrong. Maybe they need to have a better mirror of the world, or, have a nicer looking glass. So, these things are always changing, and I think we're all growing. And in Perspectopia, it's always, from what I have looked at your channel and my view of it, when I talk about that, it's always seemed that, whenever I watch other people's videos, it's always been, even if they're young and they're successful, it's always been about, okay, how they're making millions, how all of the, the crazy life that they are living, and, just all of that. And when, I think it was a day in the life that you posted a couple of months ago where, you took everybody through your day. And no, I think it was the Perspectopia launch. Okay, it was the Perspectopia launch. But that video, it was like a changing point for me and like my understanding of you in terms of your personality. So when you looked at the video, you also mentioned that you didn't want it to have this put into the world as if you're bragging about Perspectopia, or, you're, just a very different side of you. And I saw that, your videos are different, not because of the person that you are only, no, because that is a big chunk of you, also because how you treat people or how you want to pursue people, how you communicate with them through your videos. Because in that video you mentioned that, you know, this is to inspire you. And that's something that I've always noticed, is always you're trying to inspire young people, and, you know, not young, not just young, but old even. And, you know, you're trying to always get them inspired and hyped up about life, because life is really beautiful. Come to think of it and come to understand it. So was it something, you know, that you wanted to do? Because it was very easy for you, you know, to just start Perspectopia, say that I'm going to, you know, bring up a clothing brand, and, you know, it was very easy for you to take that route with your channel. But then you chose the complete other one, wherein you sort of went on inspiring people as you did it, and it was never bragging. It was never, you know, you never let your audience down emotionally when they, because they're all, because for me even, you know, when I used to watch people's videos, you know, I used to be put down just because, you know, I was like, time is passing me by, life is going by, the clock is ticking, I need to do something.
Yeah.
So what was your, you know, how did you come about to take that decision, you know, because it is hard when you come to think of it, because you easily could have taken that route, but you chose the other way just because you believed in it. So how was that for you?
Yeah, I think it's just the values that my parents have instilled in me, and the way I've just been raised as a child. And I think it's just like, it just feels wrong to me to like show off. And I think it feels so much better in the long run to bring people together and to inspire people. And just, yeah, I think over time, the stories I've gotten from messages when people have reached out to me saying, oh, you've inspired me to do this. I think, I don't know, it's just, I guess, how I am as a person. You know, I feel like showing off, bragging is not adding anything to this world.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to answer it. It's just, I guess, how I am.
That's a nice answer, because this was like a lot about what I was wondering when I was young, like 6 months ago, when, you know, when I started the Uncoiled magazine. It was something similar to that, as in, you know, as you said, I think our values, you know, always obviously determine who we are as a person. And I think those are some things that we instill in ourselves as well as we grow up and as we look at the world. But it's also something that we are, you know, passed down, and that we're given, and that we're taught. And I think that's really beautiful, because, you know, because of your like little decision of not to take that route, I think you have like inspired more people by, you know, doing what you're doing, and, you know, just becoming the person that you are, in terms of your content, in terms of everything that the work that you're working on. So I thank you for that, because I think a lot of people like want to say thank you to you. So I'm going to say it on behalf of them and on behalf of myself, is, you know, thank you for doing that, because you do not know how many people impacted and how many lives you might have like just shifted the course of. And that's really beautiful. So thank you for doing that. Also, like, really kudos to you, man, because you're 17, and that's really very wise.
Thank you. Yeah, I think going off on that, one thing with my YouTube channel is that I never want to appear that I'm some like, you know, like figure that's above. I think that's a common misconception with like social media figures and people who have followings. You think that they're not human, that they don't have negative emotions, that they don't doubt themselves, that they aren't sad at times. And I think, you know, growing up, I felt like there's just disconnect, you know, like I couldn't really relate to these people, and it really created unrealistic expectations for myself, you know, viewing these creators who seem like they always had perfect lives. And that was something right from the beginning with my own channel, that I wanted to show, you know, everything, you know, like the ups and the downs. I wanted to be honest. I didn't want to appear like I'm something above or better. And I really want to just keep the, you know, playing field flat. You know, I'm no different from you. And I think that's why I wanted to choose the route of inspiration, because I'm just a teen, just like you are. Like, there's nothing that really separates us that's that different. You know, I think that's just one of the messages that I wanted to, you know, portray. And yeah, I think that just goes back to your question of why I don't want to brag. I don't know. I think if that answers.
Yeah. Yeah, that does answer it. So coming back to the timeline, the Max Reisinger timeline. So now you've launched Perspectopia, which is, okay, that is a big moment for anybody that's, starting a business or trying to do something new. And it's really, it's like dangling your feet in ocean water filled with sharks. So how was it, were you afraid of the sharks coming and biting you off? Were you optimistic about, these sharks are going to come and I'm going to somehow shoo them off? Or was it kind of like 50-50 when you thought that this could go up, this could go down, but wherever it's going, it's just going? How was, the launch of Perspectopia as a clothing brand?
Yeah, in my mind, there were no sharks. I was so optimistic. I honestly didn't even think about anything going wrong. It was just like, all right, I have this incredible community, this awesome audience, and they're all going to support me. And yeah, I honestly had no doubts in my mind. I know that sounds kind of funny, but I was just excited for everything that I feel like we could create. And I was just on like an optimistic high. So yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I had no sharks in my mind. I was just looking towards the future.
Yeah, that's really like when I hear that, that like really takes me back to when the Uncoil started, and it was just a blog in the beginning where I was, because I was a writer then and I am still now, but I just wanted to write and I just wanted people to read it, and it just sort of changed and into something so, for me it's so big in my mind, and the picture that I see for it is big. And it's really inspiring to see that, you are doing this at such a young age. You are having a clothing brand at 17. And it's obviously just really inspiring to see when you're looking in from the outside. But obviously there are challenges involved in everything that you do in life. And were there any like challenges or drawbacks that you faced?
Oh yeah, many. I think, sorry, my dog's barking. Someone's here. So many challenges. A lot of things went wrong. A lot of errors. A lot of money. Yeah, I really kind of just jumped like straight in with no experience on how to create a business, how to run a business, how to manage everything, and there's just so many things that you wouldn't realize you have to do when running a business. And yeah, everything from like the misconception that I had that if you ship out a package, it'll arrive at someone's place, and it turns out like 10% of the packages like I send don't end up arriving, and I have to figure out like what do I do, like tracking logistics, figuring out like how do I send someone a new order that's lost, like how do I manage the emails, how do I get in contact with the postal service, how do I figure out the taxes for the other countries where it's being sent. And there's just a lot of things that I didn't realize were involved with business, and just certain things that just like went wrong, like the shipping software didn't work some days, so I'd have to like call customer service all day and figure out how to get the things up and running, and just a lot of things like that that I ran into, but it was all worth it in the end for sure.
That really does come with anything that you do in life, because there's always going to be small little drawbacks, strings pulling you down, but life is not about how hard your life puts you down, but how hard you struggle to get back up. And that's really like all I understand about business. It's about just getting back up.
Yeah.
Slow down, because I've never been into that world, and frankly speaking, business is kind of hard in terms of, because you are doing what you're passionate about. And yes, the Uncoiled is coming out with a magazine that it's very passionate about, but when I look at it, the business side does not come naturally to me. It's always something that if it were up to me, I would have given everything for free. That's the mindset that I have. And I think the business mindset is really, I don't want to say it's difficult, but it is like sort of hard to get into. And was Perspectopia, the clothing brand, always about the business side of it? And what was your, emotional, or, what was your psychological, what was happening in your mind when you were, like doing this? You were actually in the field, taking all the ups, taking all the downs, enjoying everything. How was it in your mind, and did you ever feel the doubt, oh my God, this might not work? Because yes, you are a very optimistic person, but was there any point in time where you felt like, I don't know what I'm going to do?
Yeah, there were numerous times where it wasn't I was doubtful that it might not work out. It was just, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be, and it's not going to be as easy that I had expected. Yeah, I think just going from the beginning, or just way back, I guess in general, like I've always been an entrepreneurial kid. I always had lemonade stands. I always had an origami business, like this right here. I would sell like origami pieces, and so I've always kind of had that bit in my personality. So I enjoy the ups and downs that come with running a business, and it's just it keeps me alive. I wake up and I'm excited to do it most of the time. But yeah, there definitely are moments where it's really frustrating and you just want to like shut your laptop and just not have to think about it. But yeah, I think there's just a lot of responsibility involved. But yeah, definitely moments where I love it and other moments where I hate it. But that's life.
Yeah, that really is life. Now, coming back to, you mentioned, shutting your laptop out and just getting away from it. I really relate to that, because that does happen to a lot of us, when we're like, oh my God, why am I fighting for this so much? But at the end of the day, you realize that this is what I want to be doing, and this is what I'm fighting for. Now, coming back to responsibility and resources and all the big things, because responsibility is something that you chose to took upon yourself. This was not something that your parents wanted you to do, or even if they wanted you to do it. This was never forced upon you. This was never, you were never told to take that responsibility. So how was your, how ready were you to take on that responsibility? And did you ever sort of feel like you were too young to do that, or to take such responsibility? Because now you have team members working for you, and it does, when you think of it, it really is a lot of responsibility, because these people are counting on you. They want you to answer, they want you to give answers, and sometimes it really does become frustrating because you don't know what to answer. So how was it for you, the responsibility, and how was like the resources part of it all? Because obviously, starting a clothing brand, even from scratch, does require a lot of resources and a lot of, money and all of those things. So when did you really take the responsibility that, okay, I'm going to put my time, I'm going to put my money into this? And how was your family support in this? What was their, how was their, how was their perspective on you doing this?
Yeah. I think going back to your first question, was I ready for the responsibility? And I don't know if I ever was ready for anything I started, the responsibility of it. When I started my YouTube channel, I didn't understand the responsibility that I would eventually have. I think you can never quite understand, but I think over time you learn that this is just part of it, and I have to, kind of rise to the occasion, and, I think it forces you to mature a bit. But yeah, it's definitely, I guess, age. Going back to the other question, I never thought that I wasn't young enough to do it. I think it was just realizing that I'm a bit younger and I don't have, the age and maturity of, a 40-year-old who's running a business. And I think I noticed that at times where I am procrastinating something, or I can see little, areas in my life where I am immature. And yeah, I think it's something that I've just had to adjust to. Having people count on you is weird, because I still feel like a teenager and I hang out with my friends and I feel very much like a kid at times. But then I realize oh, I have to get back to 10 different people on all these different things. And yeah, I think it's something that I've adjusted to over time. But I think it's also really rewarding when you're able to create these relationships with these people and work on projects that have a lot of meaning and can have great impact on people. And then in terms of my family, I really don't know what they thought, but they were just seeing me do my thing, and I guess that's kind of how it's been.
Yeah, I relate to that, because there's the thing with the responsibility. It's sometimes in life it's not your choice. sometimes maybe situations don't allow they don't allow you to have that choice wherein you're like, okay, I'm going to take responsibility of this, but then sometimes responsibilities are given to you. And I think it's really nice to see when somebody takes those responsibilities on, because, you know, there's a lot of, I don't want to say lazy people in the world, because that sort of like sounds weird in my mind. But yes, there's a large chunk of people that might have not taken the responsibility, or might have not taken the plunge, and because responsibility is sort of scary, even if it's taking care of your family, you know, or, you know, building your own life, or taking care of finances for future. Responsibility is always something that really, you know, people think twice about it.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see that with you, it was, you know, just go into this, and whatever may come, it will just be there. And you know, that really reminds me of a quote wherein, you know, this is something that I try to implement in my life as well, is, you know, I've always thought that, you know, I want to be like water that, you know, flows through everything, that, you know, just takes the, you know, shape of its vessel, that takes the course of life, and just really does not stop anywhere. And I really see that in you. You know, we all, I think, are trying to be like water in terms of how we adapt to, or how we react to change, or how ready we are for taking responsibility, or how ready we are of, you know, facing our future. And in terms of, let's talk about future for a second, because when you are doing this is obviously in the present, and, you know, you're doing this, you're very focused on it, but was there a part of you that was like thinking of the future, as in, you know, how is your life going to look like in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, 15 years, even perhaps? And was there a sort of, because was there fear, or was there excitement when you looked at your future, or was there, you know, a part of you that really was like, okay, I don't know what is going to come, but I think I can evolve, or I can, you know, grow myself enough to know that whatever will come is, you know, I can grow myself enough and be mature enough to handle those things on. So what was your mindset about the future? You know, did you look at it, or were you kind of like very in the moment, or how was it?
Yeah. I think I'm always thinking about the future, definitely. It's always in my mind. I'm trying to figure out what's next, how I'm going to do this in a year, in 2 years. And I think especially in this past year, graduating high school, figuring out what I'm doing next, it's a really big transition point in our lives in America, and I guess around the world. You know, 18 it's a really big year. You kind of have to figure out what you want to do. What are you going to major in at college? Are you going to go to college? Are you not going to go to college? And yeah, I think this year especially has been a lot of thinking about what am I going to do with my life. You know, I have a lot of opportunities with my online sort of career, but is that going to be something I can do in the next 5 years? You know, I don't know. And I think nothing is like guaranteed. And I think I've just been trying to focus on doing as much as I can in the present moment, so that I have more opportunities, more open doors in the future. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about the future a lot. I'm trying to live in the moment so that I can, you know, create my own future. I think that's the biggest thing that I've realized is I have a lot of tools, a lot of great opportunities, amazing people in my life, and I believe that I can create my future and the future that I want to have. And I think that's been the biggest shift. Now, you know, with turning 18, being an adult, there's also a lot of responsibility with that. And, you know, I'm an adult, you know, my life is up to me now. And I think I definitely feel some of the pressure as well of the future, you know. I think it's kind of like nipping me in the butt a little bit, you know. It's like, this is the real world now. I'm not 16 anymore, you know, filming school vlogs. I'm an adult, and I have to figure out, do I want to like raise a family? You know, how am I going to support them? Am I going to have a job? You know, a lot of these things are crossing my mind now that I'm an adult.
That really is the true reality of being a teenager, because I am 15, and right now, you know, I am in a school year where in India it's so important that, you know, like people, you know, there's a lot of suicides that happen because of this, you know, and it's really a very daunting year. It's not actually like that, but I think society makes it look that way. It just puts the extra load and pressure on us as kids to, ace those grades and, get 97% or 98% if you want to be a doctor or something like that. And I really feel that sometimes as well, because coming into this year, obviously, family is going to have expectations from you, but it's always about how you keep their expectations in mind. You don't neglect them, but you also keep in mind that this is your life and this is how you want to live it.
Yeah.
And I do also feel the pressure of the future a lot, because I have no idea what's going to happen next, and it's really scary to not know. But this is life. You never know what is going to happen next, and I think this is something that young adults have to teach themselves, is just living and how you want to live. And I think that's really, really important in everything that we do in life. It's just about how we see ourselves grow, and from 10 years or 15 years from now, how is our life still going to make that impact? And I really get you when you say, talk about that. So now, coming back to the present, the Max Reisinger timeline is stopping right now. Not stopping. It goes on forever. Okay, everybody's immortal. We're not immortal people. But yes, coming back to the present, you just graduated. Yes, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Big thing, obviously. So you have your diploma now. You have a full range of opportunities that you can go through, and you're taking a gap year. Now, I have to say this because when I got the news that you were taking a gap year, I was like, what is he doing? Because at the back of my mind, I was like, but don't take my opinion for it, because my opinion shouldn't matter that much. But, it was like, oh my God, he could have really gotten into this. But as I got thinking, as I was, okay, let's think of how his life is right now. From an outside perspective, he has 𝗝𝗢𝗜𝗓𝗏 as the clothing brand. He has the YouTube team now that he's looking after, and we also have producers. He has his own YouTube channel that he's looking after, and then there is school. So, that really got me thinking. It's like, that is a wise choice, taking a gap year, not chilling out, but thinking about things, about how you want them to be. And how you organizing yourself before you do take that deep plunge into college, if you want to go, if you don't want to go, and just deciding and thinking about it. So what are your expectations from yourself in this gap year that you're taking?
Yeah, great question. I think first off, this is like unreleased news that people are hearing about. I don't think anyone knows I'm taking a gap year yet, or I haven't put it out publicly, which it's totally fine. So this is exclusive access. So if you're here, you're getting access to this. I'm taking a gap year.
I'm gonna title this "Max Reisinger is taking a gap year."
Yeah, I mean, people would have found out anyways. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I think the gap year it's almost like just not like buying me more time, but it's giving me an opportunity to really explore a lot of different avenues with no pressure. It's like an open year. I don't have to go straight into college and do the next 4 years. I can just take a little pause and figure out what I want to do with my life. And not that I'll figure out what I want to do with my life necessarily on that year, but I think I'll have a lot of opportunity to pursue things that I'm passionate about, like the YouTube team, like my YouTube channel, like my business. And I think I haven't quite had the opportunity yet to delve or put all my energy into that while doing school. And yeah, I think with my gap year, I'm going to be traveling a lot, probably living in France again for a couple of months. I have a lot of trips planned around the world. And, I think I don't want to have a lot of expectations on myself, but I definitely want to just be putting out more content, sharing my experiences, and just making it feel like the world is on a gap year with me, And I think it's as simple as that, creating a narrative, just experiencing things in the world and not putting pressure on myself during that time to think about like my future, the career I'm going to be on. You know, I don't want to think about the future on my gap year. I just really want to be present in the moment, doing what I love. I think that's really the best way I can spend my time. Yeah, I'm excited though.
Because this gap year is very, when I thinking about it, maybe you might thank yourself for doing this, because it's always so easy to run with life, just keep running in the race, just keep doing one thing or the another. And the fact that, you had the courage to take the pause, I think, I think we don't realize this in our lives as young adults, is that we have that choice. We have that choice wherein we can take the pause, where we can stop for a minute, think about where we want to run, and then run to that place. And I think that is a really wise choice. And to everybody who's listening out there, you do have that choice, because this is your life. And if you feel like that you need you need a break, you need to think about things, then please do it, because, essentially, maybe your future self is going to thank you so much for doing that, because maybe now you're traveling, this year's, you're going to be traveling, and maybe you might not have it, you might not have had that chance of traveling if you would have gone straight to college. Yeah. So this is, when I think of it, it really seems like a very wise decision for me, or when I think of it. Yeah. But that's really kudos to you, because sometimes it's really easy to run with life. That's what I've always experienced, is, it's always chasing one thing after the other. But the fact that, and there's also fear, connected to it, talking generally, is wherein we feel that, if we take a pause, if we stop for a second, all the opportunities that we have are going to pass us by, and we're going to be left nowhere. But that's not how it is, it's not, yes, it's the opposite, it's not always about what your life needs from you, but it's about what you need from life. And if you're going to take that 1 year, please do it, because, as I said, it's going to be, you're going to thank yourself for it in the future, and your future self is going to thank you for this year especially. So, I think that's really nice that you took that decision and the courage. So for anybody who's out there, don't be afraid. Life is going to be there, even after, if you take a gap year, or even after if you take a weekend off, life is still going to be there. You're going to still be living, and you're still going to be chasing after the things that you want to chase after. So yeah, that's really inspiring. It's really inspiring. That's all I can say about it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry about, bringing the gap year news out. No. I had no idea. Oh, I feel so bad right now. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know if you wanted to say that. Oh, I should have really warned myself about it. But really, sorry about that if that's any inconvenience. But yes, yeah, thank you. So now, you're taking the plunge. Everything is maybe going as you want it to be. You're exploring yourself. You're doing all these amazing things. What is something that you want to tell the people? What is something that you want to tell your audience about, your life experiences? Not from, the optimistic, but from the more of, the evolution that you've had. How would you explain it to people, or how would you inspire people to, evolve into something that they want to be, and just, take the plunge that they really desire to take? What would you say?
Loaded question. Yeah, putting me on the spot. I think also going back to what we were just talking about, I think the biggest gift you can give yourself is more time, and I think it's totally okay to not know what you want to do with your life. And I think taking a pause and a break isn't necessarily taking a step backwards. It's just giving yourself to take a deep breath, But yeah, moving forward to get into your other question, what would I tell my audience? What would I tell them? I think, especially in this last year, I think something that I've learned is really that you can change your mindset through just, consuming more things, like listening to different podcasts, listening to or watching different types of movies, documentaries. And I think something, especially if you're younger and you're a teenager, your brain is changing, you're adapting, you're forming your personalities, your identity. And I think I think something that I did before France is I defined myself as an introvert, someone who didn't go out in public, someone who wasn't very talkative, afraid of being on camera. And I think we define ourselves early on, and maybe even society defines us and what we think we can do. We don't think of 16-year-olds starting a business. I think everyone, or I just want to remind people that you have the opportunity to reinvent yourself, and that there's so much you can do at this age. And even if you are older, life isn't over. There's so much more you can read, learn about, and I think life is just super exciting. I think that's the biggest message, is that life is full of opportunities, experiences. There's so many incredible people that you don't even know you're going to meet, but that you're going to meet, and the conversations you're going to have with those people, and maybe the family that you create later on in your life. And I think there's just so many wonderful things about life, and I think we can forget in the moment when we get caught up, being stressed about school or this or that. I think you're cut off, but I'll just keep on going. Just reminding people. All right, we're back. Might have cut off a little bit, but yeah, I think just the gist is that life is exciting, and there's so much out there, and that I think we can really forget when we're caught up in the moment, when we're stressed about our future, and that it's okay to step back, look around, read something new, have fun, hang out with your friends and your family. And I think it's as simple as that. I think it's all over the place, but just that life is exciting. I think we can forget that.
It wasn't all over the place, because I feel the same. There's a point in every. I think sometimes we feel this, and I felt this, as in maybe I'm not going to change. Maybe I am who I am. Maybe this is my life. Maybe the situations life has put me into is just going to be all messy and chaos and all of that, because we never know what people are going through, personally and emotionally, and because there is a very vast side of a human that we don't look at, and that is their family side, and the situations that they're thrown into because of those things. And for people, for everybody, just what I would, I think that's really wise when you said that you can reinvent yourself. You really can. It's not about how you can drastically change your situations. Maybe you're financially down. It doesn't, to live a better life, it does not mean that you have to be financially up and beyond. It's just about the small changes that you make and the small changes that you take in yourself, because when you try to make the world happy, you're always going to be left unhappy. But when you really try to make yourself happy and do the things that really matter to you, the world sort of sets into place, and the world sort of, hugs you, works around you. I don't know how to, but it just the world starts revolving around you when you start making yourself happy. So if you're in that decision when you think you cannot reinvent yourself, please think twice, because you really can. And I think that is the most beautiful thing that we can give to the world, or we can give to ourselves, is giving ourselves the chance to reinvent.
Yeah.
And allowing ourselves to do that.
Yeah.
Really.
To add on to that, I think when I say reinvent yourself, it sounds like you need to make this huge decision, or you need to have a crazy life change. And I think also just to remind people that, I was reading this in a book a while back, but if you make a 1% change every single day over a whole year, it compounds to be 30 times or 37 times of a difference. That's how much it compounds over time. So, you can change yourself in very little ways. It doesn't have to be a crazy decision. You don't have to completely shift your personality or start doing something very different. You can start by just deciding to read for 10 minutes every night, just little things that you can do. I just want to, reiterate that it doesn't have to be some crazy thing to reinvent yourself.
Yeah, I really get that, because reinventing yourself does sound like it's a big thing, but it isn't. It's so, this is something that I've experienced in my life, is well, there was a point when I was very down because of things that were happening in my life and all those things. And then I thought to I always thought, oh my God, what is it? What is happening? Why is the universe putting me in this path? And then it really like clicked to me that, what do you have at this moment? Do you have a house? Yes. Do you have running water? Yes. You have food on the table. You go to a school that is really nice. You are taking quality education. You have opportunities. But the only problem is the fact that you are sitting here thinking that you need more, when the truth is all you ever need is just right beside you.
Yeah.
It's all there. You just need to be grateful and look at things from that perspective, and I think the gratitude journals are so helpful in this.
Mm-hmm.
So helpful. They have changed the whole world from my perspective, because writing things that you're grateful about is not about writing things just because you need to write them. It's about reminding yourself every single day that you have these things and that you are blessed enough to have all the things that you have, and they're all right there. All you need to do is just get out of the box, because you're never meant to be in a box. And I think life shouldn't be spent in a box, should be only spent in a box when you're dead. that really went to the cynical part of me. But yes, thank you so much, Max, for doing this interview, because I don't know if anybody noticed it from the start to the end, but I was shaking by the start of it, and I'm so natural now, and I'm not feeling anything. So that's really about how conversations work, to everybody, because they're going to be daunting, they're going to be so scary at times, but everything's going to be fine in the end. And thank you so much, Max, for doing this interview, because I've been really looking forward to this, and it really means a lot to me to listen from your side and share my perspective on things as well. So again, thank you so much for doing this interview. Thank you for your time and whatever you've said. And I think everybody might have taken some piece of advice, or not advice, but something that might have touched them. So thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for the efforts that you put in, and just for being yourself in life and on the internet, because social media needs to be real. That's what I feel. So yeah.
Thank you so much for having this conversation, for inviting me. This was really rewarding. I think this was really fun, and I'd love to do it again. Thank you, Jen, also for being here, for tuning in. I think this is really a special conversation. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really. The thing is, we need to think of more things to do, because the Untitled is coming with a lot of new stuff. We have the magazine coming out, and it's basically called The Statement. It revolves around everything that we sort of discussed. It's about basically your creative statement to the world. It's about what you want to say to it. It's about what you want to put out there from your perspective, and it's all completely up to you. So that comes out this August, so stay tuned for that. But thank you, everybody, for being here, for listening to me chatter, and for listening to Max as well. And we'll probably see you sometime again.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Everyone make sure to go check out The Uncoiled. Stay tuned. Make sure to give them a follow. And thank you again for tuning in.
Thank you. Hope you have a beautiful day ahead, and to everybody that is listening as well. Now, it's nighttime, and I want to go to bed. But yes, have a beautiful day ahead, Max.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Saturday and enjoy the weekend. To everybody else as well, bye.
Bye.
This was really fun. Good night. Have a beautiful day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
I don't know how.
I don't know.
Yep.
Should I just end it, maybe? We'll see.
Huh?
I think I can just end it.
I don't know.
End it.